Myself and the wife keep things very much separate where football is concerned, because it pains me to say, but she's a Scouser, she supports Liverpool. So the two don't really mix very well.
I think we should finish with a Gary Neville quote that sums up everything about Manchester United. We don't give in and we don't stop. We are relentless, and in the end we usually get to where we want to be. This is Liam Bradford for the Red News Podcast. Just finishing off the Red News Podcast, a little radio show that we put together sort of once a month. I'm assistant editor of Red News, one of the Manchester United fanzines, and I'm an absolutely avid Manchester United fan. They are my life. Lots of reasons for that. I suppose the closest to religion that I get is Manchester United. I go to a place of worship, I make a pilgrimage every week, and I worship 11 players that you might want to call saints and a manager that you might want to call the Messiah. You can draw the parallels, and I suppose my faith is surrounded by Manchester. It is Manchester United Football Club, and that's just the way it is. Just gonna go and grab my shower.
I would describe a fan as somebody who's interested in football. A fanatic is somebody who lives a particular football club 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, like me. Yes, I am a football fan, but more importantly, I'm a Manchester United fanatic, and I live in the shadows of Old Trafford here. My granddad started watching Manchester United, who were then called Newton Heath, in 1892. My father, he started coming to Old Trafford in 1934, and in 1954 he brought me, so I never had a choice really. It was written in the stars that I would be a Manchester United supporter.
Pete has a ritual. Every time the team comes out, he shouts and sort of says the same things.
I always have to be in the ground to see the team come out. Have to be. No matter what happens, I have to be. And as the teams emerge from the tunnel, I always say, here they come. And then, and this will sound very odd, but this is the way it is. Here they come, and then come on the Reds. But it's screamed at the top of my voice, and I've been doing that now for 55 years. It's my life, literally. It is the only thing in my life apart from Kathy occasionally.
Yeah, should be about 45 minutes, mate. Okay, no problems. All right, bye. Right then, assistant editor of Red News means making sure all of these fanzines are in the right place, right time, given to all the sellers. It also means working 30 hours a week on top of my normal job as a volunteer to make sure that everything's done. Scarf, home and away, goes with me everywhere. Taller than I am, hand knitted by one of my friend's grandmothers. My pride and joy. Never leave home without it going to a United game. I think that's everything. Rightio, let's go. Ooh. Never forget, season ticket. Corner Reds.
Just before I go, I kind of mention about this scarf. My mum bought this for my dad in 1946 for a wedding present. They wouldn't have a lot of money. He gave it me in 1958. In 1991, he and I went to Rotterdam to a European final, and on the way home I decided it was too precious to lose, so I retired it and had it framed, and there it is.
Come on, we better get going. We're going to be late.
Right,
and
okay.
We're going to be late.
Okay.
Oh, heavy, heavy. New season, new start, come on United.
Oh, lads, there's my taxi. I'm going to have to...
Let's go.
Roger, every flipping way, na 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 na, na 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 na. I'm always out of tune.
There are two routes that I take to Old Trafford, and it depends entirely on whether the route that I've taken the previous week, whether we've won or lost. If I take one route and we lose, then I'll take the other route the next week until we lose again, and then I'll take the other route. This game is the first game of a new season, so I've really had to think about which way I'm going to go. Although, you know, new season, clean slate, we'll see what happens after today. I'll go round the motorway, I think.
Good morning, mate. Old Trafford, please.
So you're here for the game?
Yeah, here for the game. It's like my second home, always over.
So you come every week, do you?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say every week. I do a lot of games. I did 31 matches last season.
You must be a mad fanatic, are you?
Yeah, I would. People think I'm a little bit crazy to travel all the way, and I try not to think about how much it costs me to come over to games because, oh yeah, it would be depressing. It would be really, really depressing if I was to think about the money I spend.
£5 each, a match day, Scarf.
Red News United Fancy, new one out today. Red News folks, new one out today. Red News United Fancy, new one out today. Red News folks, new one out today.
Good.
You alright?
Yeah, grand.
One of these?
Yeah, go on, may as well.
Crack him on this one.
Boyley has a few new tunes.
He's got new CDs out, he's doing a new tour, he's got an agent. Look at him. Right,
Warm in there. This Ambitious Blaze, it's around since about 97, I'd say. It was the Dog and Partridge, I think, before that. And we come here before every game, myself and the lads from Dublin, because the best, you can hear them inside, the best sing-song is on in there.
Drink, drink, Serenity, the king, the king, the king. He's the leader of our football team. He's the greatest centre forward that the world has ever seen.
You know, all the singing is in there, so for me, it's all part and parcel of everything, you know. The passion is in the singing and the banter beforehand. The best part of it is when you're here, the match is about to kick off. That's the theatre of dreams there behind me. That's what it's all about. If you don't get a buzz, I mean, I get a buzz walking up the road to go into that stadium, you know. So when you're in there, it's pure adrenaline, it's brilliant. It's what it's all about.
Joining the queue again.
Welcome to the Trafford on a match day. If you can hear me over the atmosphere, first match of the season, everybody thinks we're going to win everything. Maybe we are, eh?
Red News, new one out today. Red News United Fancy, new one out today.
Lads, friends of mine, Kieran. Hey, how's it going?
So this is the Warwick Road Bridge, just next to Old Trafford. When I was a little lad, I'd be walking over here with my dad, with my arms by my side, and suddenly get picked up off the ground, and my feet wouldn't touch the ground again from that side of the bridge to where we are now, and then we'd walk on. So I'll just take you over the bridge, shall I?
Old Trafford, this is the theatre of dreams, the home of the Premiership champions. Will you please welcome Manchester United?
When my granddad died, I brought him back here, I brought him home. He came here for a long time, and I just thought it was right that he came back here. I got permission to bring him inside the ground, and I put his ashes down on the pitch here. So, if God is kind, he's going to stay here forever, which is right. It's appropriate that he should be here, his final resting place.
We were It was when there was
the king,
All right.
He's the leader of our football team. He's the greatest centre forward that the world has ever seen.
And then it usually ends with ooh-ah,
Yeah.
ooh-ah, ooh-ah,
Cantona,
Cantona,
ooh-ah,
Cantona.
Just such a wide and varied song, but we can go through 90 minutes at an away game and not sing the same song twice if we really try hard.
You know, there's Georgie Best World that always gets a big airing. It's like to the tune of Yellow Submarine. Number 1 was Georgie Best. Number 2 was Georgie Best.
Number 3 was Georgie Best. Number 4 was Georgie Best. We all live in a Georgie Best world. A Georgie Best world. A Georgie Best world. We all live in a Georgie Best world. A Georgie Best world. A Georgie Best world. And then it starts again. And just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, it's a good one, that. This is the home. This is the theatre of dreams. This is, you know, it's the home of Manchester United. I mean, Peter probably have better memories than me here because he's lived through the 50s and the 60s. I mean, I feel a bit jealous of guys like him who got to be here back then, you know, because we all of us young'uns,
We all have to start sometime, you know. When we've been coming a long time, there's a million memories here. A million memories. You know, amazing memories.
The Romantic period in English literature, they believe that everything that had gone before them, they were a vessel that it spoke through. And I think that's very applicable to here on the pitch. Every one of the players that pulls on a red jersey on a Saturday afternoon has the weight of everything that's gone before them playing through that shirt with them.
I was hooked before I ever stepped foot inside this stadium. My bond was formed through learning about all those players, all those things of the past. And so when I eventually came here in 1989, I was hooked on stories that the likes of Peter can tell, and all of the history and the things that went before.
On the fringe of a Munich airport lies the wreckage of an airliner, still smouldering from a crash in which 21 people were killed. Tragedy enough at any time. But in that plane were a group of young men who were almost the personal friends of millions. Manchester United, the finest soccer team Britain has produced since the war. And 7 of them died in the crash. Manchester, from the moment the news came through, was a city in mourning. At Old Trafford, the saddest football ground in the world, the flags flew at half-mast. And on hundreds of other football grounds, other flags were being dipped in sympathy. For this disaster is perhaps the most tragic single blow British sport has ever suffered.
In 1958, when I was 9 years old, a plane crashed in Munich, and the lads who were my absolute heroes were all killed.
When you learn about a team who went off to play in what back then was considered, you know, the Eastern Bloc of Europe, you know, to play football because Matt Busby had a dream, and for all of that to be wrecked on the way home in a tragic crash is, I mean, it pulls on your heartstrings, you know, it really, really does.
I said before that the whole place rings with history and with memories, and that's why it's impossible to ever put into 2 sentences why we support this football club. It's got soul. The actual building itself has soul, and every little piece of memory and history is ingrained into every seat, every piece of metalwork, every block of concrete, every blade of grass. It has Manchester United written through the middle of it.
It's right, that. He's dead right. We're in the tunnel, the old tunnel at Old Trafford. It's the only thing left now of the stadium that was built 100 years ago next year. And it's the only thing, in fact, that my granddad would recognise. This is the place that actually connects my family. It connects my granddad to my dad. It connects my dad to me. And all the great players have run down here, from Carey and Chilton in the 50s, through Byrne and Edwards and Taylor, to Dennis, Paddy Crennan, Bobby Georgie, and then on, Brian Robson and Husey and Whiteside, and then Cantona, and all of the great players. They've all been down this tunnel, and it really has some memories for me.
Old Trafford, this is the theatre of dreams, the home of the Premiership champions. Will you please welcome Manchester United?
My seat in Old Trafford, row 25, seat 41. Best place to watch a game. One of the greatest moments I remember watching from this seat was in the Champions League semi-final before we qualified for Moscow. We were playing Barcelona. We'd been to Barcelona, we'd been to Camp Nou. We'd missed a penalty and we'd come away 0-0. Come a week later, Old Trafford was absolutely rammed to the rafters. You couldn't get another person inside. The Stretford end was bouncing up and down. That projected itself to the south stand. They were all jumping about, singing and dancing. Then the ball dropped, looped out of the penalty area to Paul Scholes, and he cracked one into the top right-hand corner.
Given straight to Paul Scholes! What about that? What about that?
The whole place went absolutely crazy, and the noise was just incredible. People dancing up and down the aisles, running down to the front, stewards holding them back. Everybody in the ground knew that moment was the moment that we booked our place to Moscow. If only we could hold on for another 45 minutes. Those 45 minutes, everyone was biting their nails. I'm fairly sure not one person in Old Trafford had any hair left, it had all been pulled out, had any nails left, they'd all been chewed off. But we made it to Moscow, and that moment is my favourite moment inside this ground. Louise!
Come on, Reds, let's go! This is my seat here, KK 181. I like sitting here, I like the view, and I love it when players score in the goal here at the Stretford end, and a lot of the times they'll come over this side, right on the edge of the pitch, and celebrate with the fans. That's brilliant, love that. Probably my favourite moment, one of them anyway, comes from last season. We were going for our 18th league title, which was very significant because Liverpool have had 18 titles and have been sitting on 18 for a very long time, about 19 years. We'd lost 2 league games in a row. We played Aston Villa here. We had to win this game. So we were here, we were behind 2-1. Ronaldo managed to get an equaliser, but was going into injury time. 3-4 minutes of injury time had been played. Federico Macheda was making his debut for us. He was only 17.
Great turn by Macheda! Astonishing!
The whole place absolutely erupted. Goals like that tell you you're going to win titles. We needed to win that game that day, and Federico Makeda did it for us. He scored the winner, and it was unbelievable. And then you see Makeda going off, grabbing his dad in the family stand, celebrating with him, and everybody all around us just going absolutely ballistic. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Where are the memories located? Well, they're located in my heart and my head. Because the moment's gone, the moments of the past. The moments being with my dad over there, getting my season ticket and going to sit over in G stand, being with my mates in the Stretford end. You know, there's all sorts of things. The day I got married and Brucey scored in that goal and we won 2-1 in extra time. There's millions of memories. Here, I feel connected to all the boys that have gone before, that's for certain. Particularly the boys who never came home from Munich, because I can close my eyes and I can see them. It was over here, the match after Munich in February '58, you know, when we had no team left, when they'd all died. Can you imagine what the atmosphere was like that night? You know, it was just unbelievable.
Billy Fuchs wins the toss for Manchester United against Sheffield Wednesday. And it's the most dramatic game Busby's Babes have ever played. Less than a fortnight after the Munich air crash, the Babes are fielding a scratch side for a 5th round FA Cup tie. But from the start, they look more like champions than a forlorn hope. And the 60,000 crowd at Old Trafford, who came prepared to make all the allowances in the world, can hardly believe their eyes.
There was a boy called Shea Brennan. He was only a boy, a little boy. And he's now died, he's gone. And we got a corner over there in the far corner, and the ball came over, and the people behind in the scoreboard and sucked the ball in the net. The ball went straight in, directly in from the corner.
Brennan takes the corner, and it's in!
How can you describe an emotion like that? You just can't, it's impossible. You can't, it's beyond words. It's beyond my words anyway. Old Trafford's changed now, it's changed dramatically. When I was a boy, it was nearly all standing up, as it's now all seater. And over on the popular side, which funny enough is where I sit, there was a particular area at the back of the stand where I could sit on the top of the crush barrier with my feet on the middle one, and my old man would hold me on, stop me getting knocked off by the crowds. So from being 4 or 5, that's where we went. So by the time of Munich in February '58, yeah, I was already fanatical. A million thoughts, you know. I'm not sure in memories anymore. I'm getting old and my memories are going. It's a tragedy, isn't it? Wish I had a little video camera that I could turn it back. But I can't, but the thoughts are there. You know, it's emotion, isn't it? Just standing here and thinking about him. My faith in Manchester United has never been tested, ever.
Your faith doesn't get tested here by the 11 men on the pitch.
And I feel that as fans, we have a duty to have belief ourselves.
People have let me down. People in business have let me down. Badly let me down. Friends have let me down. Manchester United's never let me down.
Your faith gets tested here by the people in the boardroom, the people that are making the money decisions.
When I was a boy, going to watch football was a very, very cheap entertainment. I mean, incredibly cheap. My first season ticket was £11. You know, it's now nearly £1,000. And I'm not that old. You know, it's a massive leap.
I'm now paying 80, 90, maybe £100 a season more than I was paying when I first got my season ticket to come and watch the same amount of games. And that's what tests your faith. Not the content that you get when you're here to watch, but the way that you're not treated as a fan anymore, you're treated as a customer. I don't want to be a customer, I want to be a fan.
You see these kids on the tour today, and how thrilled they are just to come in here, just to come in the ground, never mind that there's nothing happening. They just want to come in here and see Old Trafford and feel and be a part of this thing that is Manchester United. That's the special thing. I hope that it dawns on them that it's not just for the next 5 or 10 years that we're here, it's for the next 100 years that we're here, when we're all gone, you know? And it's the little people now, it's the boys and girls who are coming today and suddenly getting this feeling about what this is all about, who are going to be here in 50 years' time talking about their special moment and the fact that they saw gigs and the players that are about that we know of today. That's what matters. That's what matters.
There's something about coming to this place that just means you escape from whatever's going on in the outside world.
The energy and the feeling that you get from that, I mean, it's almost divine. Certainly nothing else in my life gives me that feeling, that euphoria.
When I come here, my heart starts singing. That's what happens.
Every last supporter that sits in one of these seats is here for the same reason. They're here to follow the 11 red jerseys on this pitch.
When you're talking to Man United fans and you're making a real connection, they really get it.
The long and short of it is, nothing else matters apart from the ball hitting the back of that net and United winning.
There's a saying, you bleed red. Now obviously your blood is red anyway, but what we mean by that is that we bleed red, we bleed United. It's in our veins, we bleed it, you know, almost like we would bleed for the team, you know, and I definitely bleed red.
This is where I come and worship. This is where I've always come to worship, because this is my home.
This is my temple.